this too shall pass. He said, if life itself is transitory, then how can anything in life not be transitory or bigger than life? And when you think of it that way, when you look at it from that position, you can say, wow, there's nothing that has gone on in my life that hasn't passed. And nothing that I will encounter going forward that will not pass. Whole different perspective. But you have to put it in the proper understanding when you compare it to life itself. Now, you don't linger. I didn't linger. I'm not lingering now on mortality, but the fact of the matter is life will pass, and so there's nothing in life that can be greater than life. So those situations and experiences in life, good and not so good, will also pass. So knowing that they too shall pass, how do we go forward? How do we go forward? Well, we can look in the past, we can look at the past, we can look behind us at that type of past, P-A-S-T, and we can look and say, you know, there were times in my life that I didn't think I would make it, that I didn't think I would get through it. It could have been a test, as small as a test in school, or it could have been a health challenge. I just didn't know, but we did. It could have been that situation where people doubted that you would make it, and he says, where are they at now? You came through it. You came through it. So with that understanding, we go forth. He said what he did, Butterworth did. He said he was reading scripture. He was in a situation where he needed a little guidance, so he picked up scripture and he thumbed through it, and he came across the phrase, and so it came to pass. And he said, you know, that brought him into the understanding that things come to pass. Now in the Bible, that phrase, came to pass, is found by some counts 120 times. Mostly in the Old Testament, some of it in Acts and in Romans. But it's there, and it's how do you interpret it? It came to pass. It came to pass. All things that have gone on in our life came and come to pass. Wow. Wow. He shares with us an analogy of a tunnel. A tunnel. And you know, in a tunnel, it's dark. And we think about the darkness in the tunnel. I mean, you might go into a viaduct at night and you say, oh, it's so dark under this viaduct. Oh, you know, if they haven't put lights up. Even if you're driving through, oh, it's dark. And we kind of focus on the dark. This seems to be a pretty natural thing to do. But Butterworth reminds us that we came in from the light. There was light when we came in, right? We came out of light into darkness. And if we continue to look forward, we'll see there's light at the end of the tunnel. Now we have a choice. We can focus on the darkness in the tunnel and all it represents in our lives, or we can focus on the fact that we are moving toward the light, from one light to the next light. The experience that we want to have depends on the attitude that we develop, not the circumstances. Wow. How can you say such a thing? Not the circumstances. And as I've said before, and I'll say again, two people can go through the same situation and see it entirely different. What is the difference? The difference is in the people. What about the people? The attitude they have about the circumstances they're going through. Doesn't make one better than the other. Not at all. It just shows the possibilities of both, the most negative possibly and the most positive. That's what it shows. So, you know, Joe goes through it, and Joe never whimpers, never cries. You say, oh, Joe's a great guy. And Sam goes through it, and Sam is always whining and crying and doesn't know how Sam is going to get to the end. You can identify with either one, but know that your identification is with their attitude, not about how great or how lesser either. It's the attitude that got them through, and that's an attitude that you and I can develop. Another thing that Butterworth is reminding us of in this flow. Now, another thing that he mentions is that when a situation comes that seems dire, it may be dire to us in that moment. It may feel dire to us in that moment. He said even he, with his studying, with his understanding, and with being the minister that he was, that he occasionally would come into a situation that he just felt overwhelmed with. Thus, he was reading the Bible, reading Scripture, trying to find some guidance out of a situation. So it's not about how much you know. It's not how much you've been through. It's not all. It's at that moment, what do you need? And at that moment, sometimes we need a little guidance. And so, when we do, we should seek it. We should seek it. He did so in Scripture. We should seek it. We can say, as my mother would say, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. And then let that open the door to what we need to get past the situation. Once we understand, as Emmett Fox says, once we understand and get just above whatever the situation is, however we have to get there, we allow the flow of life, as Butterworth so aptly named the book, In the Flow of Life. The flow of life comes in and moves forward, moves itself forward. Life always moving forward, always expanding, just like the universe. But we must find a way to get out of the way. We must find a way to change our attitude so we can move out the way. Not see it as some kind of challenge. I know many people say, yeah, well, it came into my life so I could be stronger. Part of that's true, but not all of it. The experience itself can help you become stronger, but it wasn't delivered to you for you to be stronger, okay? So you're having the experience, and so you come out of it and you are stronger, but God did not give you the experience saying, I need you to be stronger. Here's a devastating issue for you to overcome so you can be stronger. The nature of experiences is that we become stronger after going through them. That's the nature of experiences. The nature of experiences. It is not being given to us because we're bad or good, because we need the challenge. That's not it at all. It's just the nature of experiences. Wow. Really? Yeah. How about that? How about that? So experiences come, right? It depends on the attitude, how we receive and proceed through the experience, right? And what we gain from the experience is what we want to hold on to, not the experience. What? Huh? I don't want to remain happy. I was happy on the island. I was with my friends. Boy, it was just wonderful. I don't want to hold on to that. No, he's saying, no, you don't want to hold on to that. You want to hold on to the fact that you gained happiness, that you were happy. You want to hold on to happy, not what made you happy, the idea of being happy. Because, what? This too shall pass. The happiness is going to pass. The situation is going to pass. The experience is going to pass. It's all going to pass. So trying to hold on to something that is going to pass because that's its nature. Can you see the conundrum you're putting yourself into? But to know that the good and the not so good, they're all going to pass. What can I get out of this experience? What did I get out of this experience? A lot different. How do I let life flow into this experience? Good question. I find ways to move myself out of the way. I find ways to move myself out of the way. Scripture tells you, yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I fear no evil. Butterworth reminds us, that is, I walk through the valley. I do not dwell in the valley. We are here to move through the valley of life, move through the experiences, not to dwell on the experiences. That's so difficult. So difficult to do. And how does this all kind of tie in together as we leave 2020? 2020 has been trying to think of a good word. A heck of a year. A heck of a year. A heck of an experience. A tremendously traumatic experience. Tremendous tragedies throughout the year. A feeling of helplessness. A feeling of there's so much happening and there's nothing that I can do, and it doesn't seem like anyone else is doing anything about it. It just continues on and on and on. So some of us will leave 2020 saying, oh, that year, oh my God, what a year. Some of us will leave 2020 with such horrific experiences. Some of us will leave 2020 with the idea, with the understanding that we've overcome some tremendous challenges. It doesn't matter. Wow. It doesn't matter. Because this too has passed. What is the experience? What is the lesson that we can take out of the experience? Can we look at it and say, I didn't dwell there, or I'm not continuing trying to dwell there. I'm moving through the valley of the challenge. I have moved through the valley of the challenge. I will move through the valley of the challenge. I'm continually moving through the tunnel toward the light. I'm continually moving. When we hold on to the experience, we are trying to make something that is not static because it has passed on. This too shall pass. The experience has passed, but I'm holding on to it. I'm saying, I just got to remember because it was so good or it was so bad or whatever it may be. I got to hold on to the experience. What's the lesson? First lesson is I got through it. And then there may be some other personal lessons that you can pull out of it. But one lesson that we all can get out of any experience is that we got through it. We're beyond it. We're beyond even the good stuff. Moving ourselves to a place we can restart each day. Looking forward to the experiences that we're going to have that day, knowing that those experiences are going to bring growth to us. They didn't come from any place. They are part of life. No adversary put upon us an experience. Experiences are a part of life. So what are some of the things we can do? He reminds us that when we're faced with a challenge, refuse, listen again, refuse to be panic-stricken. When we're in that tunnel, when we're in that darkness, refuse to be panic-stricken. Knowing that, yes, we are in the tunnel, yes, we are in the experience, but that is not the end in itself. There is light at the end. Move toward the light. Move toward the light. Then he gives us an amazingly wonderful, positive statement to address these challenges as they come. First of all, we have to remember, we should remember that they weren't sent by an adversary. They weren't put upon us by a spirit. It wasn't put upon us by a divinity. It wasn't put upon us. It is part of life. Experiences are part of life. Our attitude is how we deal with the experiences. Now, in New Thought, it's often said that, I deny. But he gives us something a little bit better to work with. So I hope you are taking notes, and if you're not and you're watching the video, go back and watch it again if you missed this part, because it's so very important. I'm going to say it once, and then hopefully we can say it together. He tells us that if we just take this approach, that it will help us tremendously. I accept the realities of this situation, but not its permanency. Yeah, it's happening. It's really going on, but it's not permanent. And I live in the fact that it's not permanent. That's where I choose to live, that it's not permanent. Not the fact that, yes, it's happening. Oh, whoa, whoa, what am I going to do? And I'm not making fun of anyone. I have, whoa, 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 what I'm going to do so many times. And I was hoping that no one would make fun of me. So I understand that part. I understand the whoa, 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 what am I going to do? Butterworth tells us, whoa, 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 he had the same thing. He sought guidance. So it is not the fact that we're going to have woe or not have whoa, whoa, whoa moments. It's when they come, what do we do? And he says one more time, I accept the realities of this situation. It has happened. It has happened. It is happening, but not its permanency. It's not permanent. If we can do that, it will affect our attitude. It will affect how we look at it. It will affect how we meet the experiences and meeting them on our terms, not letting them dictate to us. Or it takes strength. It takes strength. It takes strength. But it's doable. It's doable. Knowing that all shall pass away, this too shall pass. So I accept that it's real right now in my life. I accept that it's happening, but it will pass. It's not permanent. This situation is not permanent. That's how we change. That's how we grow. That's how we become stronger, realizing that the experience is temporary. The lesson, the strength that we gain out of the experience, that becomes a part of us and continues on with us. That's the good that comes. So you could say that experience is an opportunity for us to grow. But again, they're not put upon us so that we'll grow. Wow. Well, that's my New Year's message. From the book In the Flow of Life by Eric Butterworth, chapter 7. So as you go forward, as we all go forward into 2021, into the next great experience, knowing that no matter how good it is, no matter how challenging it is, it too shall pass. Let us remember as we leave into the new experience that the one behind us has passed. Doesn't mean we forget about it. Doesn't mean that we don't remember those folks that we have lost. It doesn't mean that we have to let all of it go. We're supposed to hold on to the lessons that we learned, but not relive the experience. So many of us, so often, seem to find peace in reliving some of the most horrific experiences. It's time to see those experiences. Your time has come. You too have passed. I wish each and every one of you the most safe and joyous New Year's celebration as we continue to practice social distancing and mask wearing, knowing that this too shall pass. Namaste.